not. We're going to sit down, stand up, wherever you want. You can do a little dance if you want. Yeah. John, I'm only dancing.
I'll sit down while you do
It turned out. Sit down, right? In the middle here.
Alright, sounds great.
I'm going to sit in a proper chair because
Fair enough.
otherwise I'll fall off poo face.
Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah.
That's why it's still
Great.
here, right?
I'm glad, excellent. That's really cool.
Is this your first question and answer for the film, or have you done it for others?
No, I did one in Toronto actually.
Oh, a lovely city. So, what was your favourite question?
My favourite question in
What
Toronto.
would you really like to be asked?
Well, the great thing is as well, and like, you know, Mars would love to be here today. He really would. And obviously this is his pride and joy, and this is kind of a little excerpt from his life. He was living in Toronto, he grew up in Toronto, and all these people were real people, you know, even
New York freaks, right?
Yeah.
Freaks in London work very, very hard at being freaks, and they do it really well.
Yeah.
In New York, a freak is a freak. They're just there, you know, they come from all over America, you know, outsiders busting in. I mean, I met Mars in New York about 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And it was his birthday party, and had a young lady called Lady Gaga, right? Just sort of like mixing the records. And I was like, God, she's so fucking loud, this woman. So we would end up in the bathroom. I don't know if you noticed, but like in New York, anybody being in New York, go to the bathroom first. It's always the best place in the house. And so where did you meet Mars? In LA or New York?
Yeah. I auditioned for him. And
Audition?
yeah, of course. Yeah, I put in a submission like any other actor would, and I remember going into the audition and saying like, being American, like going in full American, introduction and everything. And then, as I always do when I'm over there, because I live in Los Angeles full time, but I grew up here in Southampton. Well, not here, but down in Southampton. And I remember thinking like, the best thing to do at an audition is to go in as an American, and then at the end of that first read, say, oh, can I do it in another way? And then they go, well, sure, but it better be different. And so I would then switch to my regular voice, you know, and they're like, wow, you know, that's amazing. You can do British, as they call it over there, you know. And so I would say, yeah, okay. But with Mars, I finished the audition, and then afterwards, that was it. And they went, thanks very much, have a good day. And I was like, oh, no, like, I was like, it's one read, there's no way that I've got the role. And he called me that night and he said, yeah, well, you know, we've been looking for the guy. But another thing that I was going to say is, the guy that I played, I actually met in Toronto, and he's that much of a proper scumbag, he's not allowed to leave Canada. Which I thought was really weird. And he's got one of those like top hats and everything, and just looked like a proper freak. I remember seeing him from a distance and thinking, that's the guy. And I was right, it was him. Yeah, but it was cool to see. It was great to see him and see a couple of the other people in Canada that didn't get a chance to make it to the LA premiere. And as I say, you know, Mars has been following it all the way around. This movie was up against Jackie, that won Oscars in Rotterdam, and out of 400 films, it ranked 25, which is not bad with, you know, a small budget.
I'm amazed by all the different characters, you know, because like I said, I hadn't seen the film, and it's only recently, like about 3 days ago, that Mark started sending me like information. Oh, you've got Nick Cage's drummer, and now I've got, and then Neon was there, Neon Music. I don't know if you got with Neon, but I first met Neon again like about 15 years ago in New York. I was waiting to play with my band. He came running down the street, said, "Have you been on yet?" And I said, "On what?" "You're the Homosexuals, aren't you?" "Yeah." And I said, "No, another 5 minutes." So to see Neon up there with his music as well, it's just so many characters that if you knew them personally, it's like, fuck, these people are like real outsiders, you know?
Yeah.
See them all together, you know, it's like pull them all together in really kind of like impressive fashion.
But the thing is though, there was this one guy, so Red was in there, you know, with the long ginger hair.
Yeah.
Well, the guy that originally played that role, there were so many of, as you say, those people that had all these personalities, and I was really a nobody. Since then, I've done a few more films and got, you know, a little bit more credits, or a few more credits over that. But I remember just kind of being in the background, you know, sort of like doing what I was told, and not really having that massive ego that comes with a lot of actors, especially in LA. And so the guy that I was sat next to, he didn't get along with this guy that was opposite his desk. Obviously, this is a fictitious, you know, set, isn't it? It's not real, but he really didn't get along with the guy, and every time that he would flub a line, he would say an expletive to him and be really upset. And in the end, that was the guy that got Ron Jeremy in it. And he was kind of like, oh yeah, I know Ron Jeremy.
For those who don't know, Ron Jeremy, like porn star, you see him, he's about 5'2", but apparently he can keep his dick hard for like 3 weeks at a time. So people keep hiring him. Now he's acquired this kind of cult status. Like, if you saw him in the street, you'd be like, no woman's ever going to get turned on by him, right? But it's Ron. How do you get fucking Ron Jeremy without flashing your dick?
It's unbelievable though, and then he came on set.
Tell the truth now.
Well, I don't know. I was just, but I would be in the makeup room, and he came in, and he was like he got like 2 younger actors that were in there to do a picture, and Ron Jeremy did like this expression, and they did this expression, and they like would take a picture.
Did they put makeup on it?
No, I don't think so. But that was the thing. I was like, oh my god, my parents and my girlfriend are going to see this, and I'm like, by the way, Ron Jeremy and Nina Hartley are in this, and you know, I was just like a bit embarrassed at the first, but you know, it was a fun thing. But I was going to say, that guy that actually got Ron Jeremy in since actually got fired from the film.
Oh, really?
And it was one of the first films that I've been on to witness somebody getting fired and then have to do that same scene that you've already shot and finished.
Yeah.
And Mars actually, as a side job, what he does is I don't know if he would want me to tell you this anyway, but he's got a really legit job. In LA, he's in charge of editing all of Apple's commercials. So he's a professional editor. That's his trade. You know, and his passion and his drive is producing, writing, and directing.
It's been a long time coming. I mean, the whole thing. It's not like...
Oh, yeah. No.
This idea for a film, and it's like ready 6 months out. It's like 10, 15, 20 years of his life. Parts.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, a lot of times when you finish shooting and then you go back to them and you say, you know, hey, that film that we, you know, finished shooting, like, what's the status? And we're still waiting to edit. You know, we haven't quite got round. We're like lacking budget.
How long was it from the time that you passed the audition to actually
start shooting?
The thing being finished.
Well, what I was going to say is, say we would shoot on a Monday, for example, and then we'd come back on the Tuesday. He would say, oh, you know all that stuff that we shot yesterday? It was great. I've already edited it. And I've never, ever had that experience before. I thought that was super professional. That was really impressive that somebody has so much drive, and that, as I say, that's his forte. That really is what he's a professional at as an editor.
I mean, all the time that I knew him in New York, I knew him because, you know, he's working at Pat Field's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he liked film, but he never said, I'm collecting. You know, nice. For the film. And he was doing it all that time, you know. He's got incredible patience and resolve, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm here to also announce that with the old Hollywood dying, those that were here early on will realise that Hollywood is dead. We now have Hellowood, and this is the first public screening of a Hellowood movie. New directors, artists, actors coming through. When I say new, I mean people that have been driven for the last 10, 15, 20 years, you know, and have a passion for what they do, and they refuse to sell out.
Yeah.
And now it comes out and people think, oh yeah, that's interesting, new director, or interesting new actor or film or whatever. But it's been a long time coming, and not everybody made it through.
That's true.
But anyway, love, live, Hellowood, Hollywood today. And like, I loved what that guy said. I don't know whose line it was, but oh yeah, you make lots of money with Satan. What was it? That you're guaranteed to make money with Satan, give your heart to Satan. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Does anybody else pick up on that? If you want to be successful.
Throughout that film, you've got to love Satan.
Oh, Satan! Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
No, yeah, it's true.
You know, being a child of the 60s, I went to all these festivals in the 60s, and there was a band called the Edgar Broughton Band, right? So nobody really knew how he was supposed to behave at festivals in the 60s, right? So they're there, and they're on stage, and the last song they did, come to the Sabbath, come to the Sabbath, cause Satan's there, and everybody's like, yeah, come on. Anyway, so Satan it is, right? But you know, when you worship at the altar of Satan, sooner or later, if you worship at the altar of excess, then that altar eventually demands a blood sacrifice. But the beautiful thing now about doing things is because the establishment has lost control of the means of production, distribution and media, we have our own now, so we can do what we want.
Yeah.
And if we sell ourselves to Satan, it's because we choose to, not because we had to.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just a good little Catholic boy, Irish Christian. How did you grow into
After all that?
Irish Christian brothers and nuns. But anyway, that's another story. We're here to glorify this beautiful, wonderful film and your part in it. So did you feel yourself kind of like growing into the part when you realised what the implications were, or was there any part of it that was difficult?
No, I mean, I learned, I chose to go and study acting in the States rather than here in London. Right. But I'd gotten into 5 drama schools here in London and I chose the one in the States. And I've got to say, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Right. But I had a lot of friends at the same time that were still studying here, and we would talk back and forth. And it's all about, especially in film, you have to go into that audition and like give them the role as if you're about to shoot there and then. You can't be like, it's sad to say, but in Hollywood they have a massive lack of imagination. Like if you go in and you're playing a clown and you're not wearing like clown attire, they're gonna be like, I could never imagine you as a clown. Like I remember doing one thing and like a commercial for a drug company. And then they were like, oh, we just don't think that you're like crazy enough. But I had brought myself to tears and played this schizophrenic role and also switched to this other side. It was a multiple personality role as well. And given them all this, and I guess I was too clean cut. And they were like, we just don't think that you have the look for playing crazy. And I'm like, you don't have makeup for that? So I learned the hard way of losing out on these big roles that can pay your rent. And thinking, wow, you know, I got to give it. So with this role, I loved it. You know, the audition scene that we had was the same scene that was in the restaurant. And we got one take for that. I mean, it was kind of like, a lot of this was guerrilla shooting around LA. And you'd just be in a restaurant and somebody would order like one fizzy drink. And then you just expect for 5 people to come in for an hour and just like shoot the scene. And I really took the role seriously, but, you know, Princess Frank, great, he did really well as an actor, but again, he's more of a singer. He's a performer. I think he's in Gary Oldman's band. And so, like, that's what he pushes for, and Mars saw him as, oh, no, I want you to play, like, his part in his life. And so Princess Frank played, obviously, like, Mars's part. But I remember in that thing, like, I was looking at him across the table. He didn't know where his lines were, so I just had to, you know, breeze across it. And I thought this was exactly what I had in the audition. And so that was the biggest scene for me. And the other ones, like ensemble scenes and, you know, people flubbing lines. But apart from the longevity, it was relatively straightforward after all the training.
I mean, knowing Mars and like, having been a frequent visitor to New York from 85 onwards, you know, there's not one person up there, like none of those characters that were kind of like, fuck me, are the people like this in the world?
Exactly.
But you've still got to have the eye for them, you know?
Yeah.
You've still got to have the eye to be able to choose them. So was there anybody in particular during the filming that you thought, fucking hell, they're really pulling it out of these people? Or was it just pretty much as you expected in terms of their characters? I mean, did you have a favourite character in the film apart from yours?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like I really like the guys that were, you know, all in the, you know, the telemarketing scenes, like those ensemble scenes. I feel like that was where we spent the majority of the time.
I saw a review that said something about, basically it's like a combination of The Office, Spinal Tap, and the best movie you ever saw.
I like that. Yeah, I was going to say there was a native Indian guy that I really liked. And a lot of other guys that I've still seen across Hollywood, you know, and you go to auditions and you're auditioning for one thing and they're going for another thing. Oh, crap, I was in Scumbag with you. And, you know, I just really like, and again, one of my things as well is like, I really like it when people take their comedy and their drama seriously. You know, even if it's comedy, if they take it seriously, they know the lines, they know the timing, that's great. But I do get, you know, impatient with people that turn up on set with that kind of egotistical star power, and they think, well, I performed in the Viper Room last night, so I don't have to learn my lines. And I was like, I get it, you know, they're going to do a close-up, they're going to feed you the lines, they're going to even give you a line reading and tell you the inflections of how to deliver those lines. But for me, I was like, that's the worst thing as an actor. Like, I don't want somebody to have to tell me, no, you say it like this, listen, like this, and you're like, you went to drama school to be able to learn it from the inside out rather than from them to just throw it on you. But yeah, like I think one of the most difficult things about this movie was the fact that we all came from different fields. You know, like even Mars is a great DJ, and but I thought he was a fantastic director. I really did. Like very, very hospitable, and you know, he just brought the team together, and you know, he told us like how he was going to edit it as he was going along. Sometimes like you're shooting something and you think, why am I supposed to do that? And he's like, look, the reverse of this shot, the person that you guys are stood here right now and you're looking across the table, but I'm going to fly to New York next week. And the guy whose lines that I'm reading right now, we're going to do the reverse and it's going to be in New York. And you're like trying to get your head around that. Like, how are you going to match the scenery? But,
I mean,
you know.
to me, the characters were so kind of like New York. And I have to remind myself that Miles was doing it a lot from like LA. But it's like New York, you know, once you've been to New York, it's like, that's the kind of spiritual home, you know, because people give you a chance to get your ideas out. I think at this point we will throw it open to the floor, as they say, if anybody's got any questions, if you need a microphone, or... Anybody got any questions?